So the first thing that we need to become comfortable with before we write any VBA code is the Visual Basic for Applications window, or the Visual Basic editor. We saw a quick peek at this earlier when we went back in to edit that macro where I misspelled the word total. So you remember how to open that? We got the Developer tab. I went into the Code section and I'm going to go to Visual Basic. This will get me into the VBA window, or the Visual Basic editor. So this is it. It's a completely separate window from Microsoft Excel. You close it just through the X at the top. You can maximize it, you can minimize it. When you make adjustments in here, you don't necessarily need to save it. You just close, go back to your Excel document, and depending on where your code is stored, remember this workbook or personal workbook, you just file save and it'll save the code as well. But it is a completely separate window. That's one hurdle that people seem to stumble on when they're first getting into Excel VBA. We got our VBA window. Inside of here, we have a few things going on. We got some menus, kind of like the old style Office applications, just drop down menus. We got a nice little toolbar there at the top of the screen. We got our Project Explorer, and we got our Property Sheet. Now, we're not going to talk all about everything inside of here, but we're going to talk about more of the key concepts, and then we'll elaborate some more as we go through the various projects. There's a few things that I do want to make sure that you have open. I want to make sure that you have the VBA project window open. So if it's not there, you go to View, little View menu there, and let's go find the Project Explorer. This is a very important element of your Excel document and of VBA. Once I got that open, you'll see that I've got my VBA project. It's called Book 1. This is just named after whatever the name of your Excel document is. Inside of there, I've got Excel objects. I've got the sheet. I've got a single worksheet inside this workbook. And I've got a reference to this workbook. Now we're going to see this elaborate some more. As we start working in other projects, you'll see other worksheets show up in there. Just kind of mirrors. Let me move this out of the way for a moment. It mirrors the worksheet setup that you have inside of your active workbook, and you're eventually going to see modules in there. And in a later lecture, we're going to talk about user forms, so you'll also see a folder in there for user forms. So the project window is going to get a little more involved, but really it's your project that's stored inside of this workbook, and it kind of replicates itself against what you have inside of the Excel or the active Excel workbook that you have open. Now, there's not much going on in here right now, but this is your VBA window. This is where we're going to start generating all of our code, and perhaps more importantly, at least at this moment, we're going to get into those key concepts: variables, procedures, loops, and control structures using if statements. So let's get the VBA window open first. Remember, just Developer tab, Visual Basic, that'll pop it open for you. Get that open, and then we'll start nailing down these key concepts.